And scene.
Welcome back.
We're back, baby.
I've missed you.
Back streets back. All right.
I have something to share with you
What is it?
that I think that you'll be probably actually a little surprised about.
Oh. Okay.
I'm seeing Taylor Swift in 2 weeks.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You know, I resent that because every time I come and I talk about Swift, you're like, well, blah, 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 blah. And then here you are, sell out, going to see her. Devastated.
What do you want from me? I figured it would be an experience and I'll never get to do this again. I'll probably never
Yes, neither will
in my
I.
lifetime
Neither
ever go
will
to
I.
a Taylor Swift concert.
Yes, you and I will have that in common, except you will get to go. At least once. To the Eras tour, and you'll get to see her dive. There's a moment where she dives into I'll never forget when I was watching the TikToks of the first time that she performed. I guess it was in Arizona when she kicked off the tour. And there's a moment in the tour where I guess the stage kind of divides and she does this like what looks like it's going to be a belly flop. Like it doesn't look like an Olympian dive.
Sure.
But she dives into the stage and the person doing the TikTok was like, ah! Like they got so afraid that she was really, I guess, falling to her death or to an injury at least. So, you know, it's fine. I'm happy for you. I don't want to be bitter, Betsy. I just want to say that every time I feel like I talk about Swift, you're like, oh, it's like an eye roll and you act like you're above it.
No.
And then here you are going to the Swift concert
true.
and you don't even know that much about Midnights. That's all I'm saying to you.
That is not
You better
true.
do your homework because there's going to be a lot of those songs playing at the concert.
It's not true.
It is true. I mean, I know that you don't want her to win an Oscar. I get all of that.
Okay,
But-
just because I had an opinion does not mean that I don't like her. I just don't.
When I
think
said
that
I
she
wanted
needed
her to
be-
win an EGOT, you were like, no, absolutely not.
No, I am fine with her winning an Oscar when she's done the fucking work. She has not done the work.
I mean,
I am fine with her
I
getting
agree.
an EGOT. I want her to be an EGOT. I want everyone to be an EGOT.
no, you shouldn't want everyone to be an EGOT.
No, but I mean, I want everyone to strive for what they
Sure.
want. I want them to succeed.
Sure.
I just don't want them succeeding on the coattails of others when they should be in the same space to be nominated. And Taylor Swift is taking up that space for a music video she did. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to accept it.
Okay. Well,
But
definitely don't enter that conversation when you walk into that stadium.
Look,
You keep that stuff to yourself. I mean, I agree with you. You and I we agree on that, but I'm
Okay.
just saying.
but she has $350 of my money. So that is my contribution. I get to have an opinion about Taylor Swift.
That's really not that bad. Well, we'll see. I really wanted to see her in Vegas, but it came too soon after the wedding. I just couldn't. Actually, it was before the wedding. I was like, I can't do that. So I have a great time. Have so much fun.
Okay. Look,
I guess you can send me all the videos.
speaking of Vegas, BravoCon.
I know. I want to go.
Let's go.
And it'll be during football season too, so I'll be.
I don't know what that means. Oh, for
Well,
gambling.
for
gambling.
sports betting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be.
I just imagine you with one of those little like clear visors
Oh, I
and
would
like
never.
a cigarette and like a beer in a paper bag and like
Ooh,
sitting.
I
at
kind of
the-
like that.
and
look,
sitting at the penny
except-
slots. in
except for the
sports gambling.
visors and except for the penny slots because I spend way too much money. But I like that look at the paper bag.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty fitting.
I think so.
Well,
too.
let's make it happen. I don't know when. I don't know
figure
when
it out.
tickets are going on sale, but
We'll figure it out. We'll talk to producer. We'll figure it out. We're definitely going to BravoCon this year. We're making it happen.
if anything, we're going to Vegas. So
That's how I look at it. It's Vegas first, BravoCon second.
yes, I agree.
We'll go
'Cause
at the
we'll-
Caesars Forum.
Yeah, we'll find them somewhere.
What hotel should we stay at? Caesars.
Well, we could stay. I heard Caesars is having a lot of problems. Like they're kind of going. They're just having an identity crisis, is what I'm hearing.
I filmed a show in Vegas for like 3 weeks, and I stayed at Caesars for that long. It was horrifying. No one should be in. No one should be in Vegas for longer than 3 days.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I typically stay at Treasure Island, Bellagio, or Mirage. So maybe one of those. And if we can swing my parents somehow, because they always want to go to Vegas, we might be able to get some comped rooms. Just very exciting.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll try to work it out.
Okay. I'll get the strippers and cocaine.
Okay. Sounds good. That sounds good. Sounds good.
Good.
But yeah, back in town, Mexico was fun.
Yeah. How was Mexico?
It was so fun. It was my first time at an all-inclusive. And guys, I stayed at the same place that Sheena got married. It's a different branch, but it's the same Dreams Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They did look a little different, but yeah, I felt just like Sheena's wedding party. Did nothing but drink. I did a bunch of tequila. At one point I said I need to switch to vodka. I made the choice, but it was a lot of fun. I'm very happy to report that I did not get sunburned. And for those that don't know me, I'm kind of like a vampire. I'm like one of the palest people you might ever meet in human life. And so
like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, actually I am Nicole Kidman. I really perfected my accent. But no, really,
you're as fair as Nicole Kidman, and you have red hair like almost exactly like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. So I burn to a crisp easily. So I made, a very intense effort to apply sunscreen. And I'm very proud of myself.
Well, we missed you.
But I'm back. And just like Tom Sandoval, I'm going on 4 days sober. I've never felt more like Sandoval in my whole life, baby.
I don't want to laugh, and we'll talk about it in just a second.
No, you can laugh.
But I just, look, I can't. I honestly, I cannot.
When he said that, I was like, listen, I don't ever want to laugh at anybody. Not that I think he's actually trying to be sober, but like, I don't ever want to laugh at anybody's journey. And of course, 4 days is 4 days. But like the way that he phrased it and how he was trying to like pump him up, how much he's working on himself and how many changes he's making, I just had to laugh.
I'm not going to entertain it. We'll get into it in just a second, but I'm not going to entertain it.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I'm happy to be back. Happy to be back on the mic. And
the mic missed you. We missed you.
I missed the mic. I did have some mic though. Had some mic action at the wedding. I did some karaoke.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I did some Gangster's Paradise. I did some Proud Mary.
I'm proud.
Did some speeches. So I actually hung out with a mic a lot, but it's nice being back on this mic. I don't actually have to hold it, so it's a little bit less effort, and I'm happy about that. Ready to run.
But now being back in reality, and where reality TV still exists, and all of these things that have happened in the course of your time gone, we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
So with this episode, I think we're going to just kind of play some catch up and talk about some things that Betsy missed while she was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Staying at Sheena's resort. And then we're going to talk about Jersey, because there wasn't a whole lot that happened with Jersey, I feel like, right? I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, we're going to kind of split this up into two segments.
Yeah.
Catch up and Jersey. Shall we?
Shall we? We shall. We shall.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Reality Bites, the podcast where we'll deep dive into this week's buzziest reality TV and pop culture happenings.
I'm Betsy, and while I may be 9 to 5 by day, I'm a reality connoisseur by night.
And I'm JJ, a reality TV producer by trade, but my favorite pastime is dishing unfiltered dirt and behind-the-scenes scoop. We'll tackle the biggest and best water cooler moments of the week through an insider lens you won't find anywhere else.
Buckle up, buttercups.
Please don't tell me it's about Tom.
It's about Tom.
This is Reality Bites. While you were gone, there are a lot of things that happened. First of all, Schwartz was on Watch What Happens Live last week.
Yep, missed that.
I mean, okay, just to kind of put it into a timeline, into a perspective here, you've only been gone for, 6 days, a week?
Yeah.
We haven't recorded together in
I've been gone
10 days, but
I've been out of town for 5 days, but yeah.
Okay.
And I got signed out of all of our social media, so I really had no connection to anything. So
we have a theory about that. You have a theory about that.
I do, or you do?
No, you told me before we started recording that you had a theory as to why you were signed out of Instagram.
Oh,
and it's
because I was in Mexico.
No, it was because I did the solo pod where I talked about Jersey.
That was a joke, but yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if you believe it. It's okay if you think that I purposely signed you out of our social media because I didn't want you to have an opinion about Melissa being the one that needs to stay on Jersey and Teresa needing to go.
I'll be giving that opinion today, so you didn't get out of that one.
But it felt like you weren't gone that long, but yet
so much happened.
In the reality sphere, you've missed so much.
I know.
Okay, so Tom Schwartz on Watch What Happens Live last week's episode of Vanderpump. I mean, you've seen it, but I mean, you just missed it on the pod. Okay.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about it, really. And then this Howie Mandel interview with Tom Schwartz, which executive producer joined me for.
Yeah. I listened to that. That was great.
And Lala was on Watch What Happens Live last night. Did you watch that?
I didn't see that. I haven't seen this week's episode of Vanderpump yet.
Okay.
I'll be watching that tonight or early tomorrow.
And then we're going to be recording that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. But just in the 5 days that you were gone, you missed so much. And it wasn't like so many different circumstances. It was more just like the totality of the chaos of everything that you missed.
Yeah, it felt like a lot.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I know that obviously EP and I talked about it, but how did you feel watching one day, guys, one day. How did you feel watching the Howie Mandel interview?
Well, as you know, I really, really put it off. I put it off. Even after I knew it happened, I saw clips. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go through that. And I had seen enough clips and I had seen enough feedback about how bad it was that it didn't necessarily make me want to watch it. So I just didn't. And then you were like, no, you need to watch it. You need to. And I had seen a lot of clips on TikTok that it didn't go well. People had a lot of feedback that not only, Tom was tragic, but apparently Howie was horrifying. So it didn't necessarily make me want to jump to go and watch it. But after you told me to multiple times, I decided I would. And I did actually watch it earlier today. I made it through. And I have to say, it was just horrific. I mean, terrible. The daughter tried. I got to give it up to the daughter.
Jacqueline,
yeah.
Because we could not remember her name for the life of us.
But like, obviously a very softball interview, right? Because it was like a friend of a friend. It was like the bandmate's friend or something. Yeah, I mean, he had it in that way, which makes sense because I kept telling JJ when I was watching it, I was voice memoing back and forth. I was like, this just seems like, if there was ever a podcast example of like, boys will be boys, to me, it was this. Yeah. It was like Howie being like, listen, you are here taking ownership. You are a man who made a mistake. And you are here standing up for yourself. And I appreciate that. And I'm like, I don't, who wants to hear that narrative? Nobody.
Who wants to watch Howie fucking Mandel?
Nobody.
Okay.
And so
can we talk about real quick? Betsy did not know that Howie Mandel started his career in comedy.
Another horrifying event that I found out. I thought he was just the man on that box show. What was that box show?
Deal or No Deal?
Yeah.
No.
She told me that he was a stand-up comedian. That was comedy in itself, honestly. I was like, oh. I thought she was telling a joke, but then she said...
You were like, he was on that show with the boxes, and then he was on America's Got Talent. And I was like, well, why do you think he's a judge on America's Got Talent? It's because he's a comedian. And
he just overcame OCD, and he had some room to I guess, judge people. And then JJ was like, I'll put some of his older stuff on YouTube when you come over. And I said, please don't do that. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see it. But it was hard to watch. I found myself being more annoyed with anything. I will say I was so confused. Tom Sandoval was like word salad the whole time.
Sure.
He said 100 words when he could have said 5. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't know if that was to kind of confuse people. I left the interview more confused than I did going into it. Like everything he said, he contradicted, which I think that's kind of the vibe that I feel like most people have gotten. But the thing that upset me the most was just talking about Ariana. Like, that's when I got really enraged. Like, talking about Ariana and like
how he outed her that one time.
Yeah, like talking about, she wouldn't let me break up with her. She told me that she was going to commit suicide if I broke up with her. Nuh-uh. Absolutely not. One, I don't believe that. But if I did believe that, how fucking dare you? You don't say that shit on a podcast. By the way, where the host is all about mental health and mental awareness. Like, my platform.
He stands on the soapbox, Betsy.
That's what he said. It's mental health. And you're going to let someone come on your show and say, oh yeah, well, my girlfriend said she was going to kill herself, so I didn't break up with her. No. I was just so grossed out by everything he said about Ariana That's what really enraged me. Everything else was very silly, but I was very horrified by that.
Yeah, it wasn't a great interview, to say the least.
It was terrible.
To say the least. And I know that Jacqueline tried. She really tried so hard. And I know that she was horrified by some of the things that her dad was saying.
Yeah.
And embarrassed.
Yeah, she should have been.
Kind of like he was just romanticizing kissing. Like, it's no big deal.
Yes.
Like, it's just a kiss. A kiss is just a kiss.
Oh, I don't see anything wrong with this.
Like an affair to remember. Like,
yeah.
A kiss is just a kiss.
I don't see anything wrong with this. It's like, okay.
But what I pointed out to you was, I'm confused. Is her mother still married to
I think
Howard?
they are. Because he
so
came
that's
out.
what I mean. Like, oh, kiss is just a kiss?
Yeah. He came out after all the backlash. He's like, I've been a man who's married for 42 years.
Yeah, but how would your wife feel if you just told her a kiss is just a kiss? Like, no big deal.
I don't know.
That's my point. That's my point.
I don't know. It just was very, I mean, I understood why people were so enraged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it now why. I mean, even Andy was like, that was bad. And yeah, how he needed to do his homework. He needed to at least, like, to me, it was embarrassing when they were talking about Sheena and he was like, who's Sheena? Like, I don't know if he was trying to be funny, if he really didn't know, but like,
no, he really does not know.
But that's also embarrassing for you. Like, at least when we talk about things, I sometimes pretend like I know what you're talking about because we have a podcast. Okay, like, come on.
Yeah. Or just let Jacqueline do the interview.
Exactly.
That to me, it was like, just let your daughter run the interview.
Yeah.
That's what I told EP.
couldn't
I
let her,
said,
though.
let Howie be the conduit to the daughter really running the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even
use the platform.
There were some moments when Howie was like, I just don't get the big deal. Like, am I understanding this correctly? And the daughter's like, no. Like, you know, like, he's like, am I wrong? And the daughter like didn't want to say yes, you're wrong, but the daughter just kind of like had silence tell him that he was wrong.
She was white knuckling. You could tell.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of felt for her, but you know, I mean, obviously this was the interview that he chose to do because I think he could have a little bit of control, right? He knew that he was going to he wasn't going to get a lot of pushback, but instead he was going to get uplifted for speaking his truth and, you know, showing up and you know, owning his part. I just can't. And I can't get into the narrative of like, he told Ariana, Ariana wouldn't let me break up with her. She wouldn't. I even told her, Ariana, I don't think I can be faithful. I don't think I can not cheat on you. And she said, I'm not leaving the relationship. Okay. All right. Well, then why are you apologizing for having an affair?
I love this point that you made because to me,
why are you apologizing then? You in Tom's words, he said that he told Ariana, Ariana, I got to break up with you, but you won't let me break up with you. I'm going to tell you, Ariana, I don't think I can be faithful. I might have to cheat on you. Okay. So then you end up cheating. Well, then why are you apologizing for anything, Tom? You fucking idiot. I can't. I'm getting mad all over again. I'm
surprised that you made it the entire way through. Oh, well, wait. You said that you didn't subject yourself to watching.
Yeah, I didn't watch the shaving part.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. I've seen enough.
That he tried to play off as though it was just happenstance. It was incidental that he had his razor. Okay.
Yeah, that seemed super planned.
But what do you think the intention behind that was? To be like, I'm going to be a spectacle. Like, look at me. I'm shaving my beard on Howie.
He's changing. He's changing, JJ. He's sober for 4 days. He's changing his appearance. Oh
my God. Okay, so that's what we were talking about. Here's what I'll say. And I think that if you've been listening to us, you know by now the type of personalities that Betsy and I are. We are mental health advocates through and through, and we are advocates in all facets of anything that is mental health, addiction, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
However,
yes,
just wanted to preface that for the new listeners and the old listeners who may have needed some reminding. I'm not going to allow him to take up the space for those who are actually getting sober and for him to really, in a lot of ways, imply, because that's what he's doing. And this is what a narcissist does. He's trying to manipulate the conversation by saying things like, I'm sober 4 days. And so that he can crutch on plausible deniability. Well, I'm not saying I'm sober, but I'm going to use all the buzzwords that others will use in a journey of growth and self-exploration.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ride on the coattails of other people who are actual addicts and have actual problems. And I'm going to say I'm sober now. I'm not going to allow him to take the space up for that because he's bullshit. I know exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to use these this type of verbiage and vernacular so that people can side with him, that he's a victim. Not that he's the victim, he didn't do anything wrong, but that he's the victim. You see, he's having problems. And
he's fixing them.
Yes,
he's taking action.
He's taking action. Fuck off.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely not. And honestly, of the two of them, Ariana is really the only one we've seen in a real way talk about her mental health on the show. Like, we've seen it throughout when she's really down, when she doesn't want to do things. Remember when she was talking to Lala and I think it was Stassi, and she's like, sometimes I just want to drive my car off the bridge.
Yeah, it's
and
in season 8.
And they're kind of like shocked. Like, she's the only one of this relationship between the two of them that has really talked about mental health in a real way because she struggles with it. And for him to come on this show and act like he has all this, mental like illness that's happening because he's been having a real fucking hard time because everybody's turned on him. His real friends have turned on him because of what he did. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And if you want to do that, fine, but don't bring Ariana up in it. Bring Ariana up in the sense that you fucked her over and like, that like things have changed and maybe things didn't go well and you wanted to eventually break up with her. You don't need to go into all of the stuff where, she refused for you to break up with her, which I also don't believe. I do believe, which I know y'all said when you and producer were talking, that like, I'm sure they've had conversations that like, we're not really happy. This isn't going well. Maybe eventually we have to figure out a way how we move forward separately. I absolutely think those conversations have happened. Before this season started, we knew that they didn't seem like they were that happy. Like, I know that they tried, but we knew before the scandal of it all, we knew something was just missing.
Something felt a little empty.
Yeah. So I do believe things like that took place, but to this level, absolutely
I'm not going to buy that
way.
She chained herself to the house and was like, I'm not breaking up. Like, I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not doing that. And the other person that he tried to paint this way was Kristen Doty. And one of our listeners pointed this out to us, that in an episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, I guess at some point he talks to Kristen Doty about their breakup. I don't know if this is a new episode, an old episode. I'm unclear. So I'm sorry, guys, for not being able to tell you what episode that's in. I'll figure it out and then I'll link it. But I guess they have a conversation about their breakup, Kristen Doty and Tom Sandoval's. And Kristen kind of alludes to or implies or outright says that Tom tried to coach her in a way to figure out like how they were going to break up and how that was going to affect the show and like their story and cameras, and that it's very similar in a lot of ways to what Tom Sandoval's narrative is with he and Ariana and their breakup. And I don't disagree. Yeah. I think that he is trying to paint Ariana in a way that he painted Kristen. Oh, Kristen has to come pick up her mail. Oh, Kristen has to show up doing this. Oh, Kristen's this. Oh, Kristen's around. Yeah. Oh, Kristen's whatever.
She can't let go of me.
Correct.
She can't let go of me.
Correct.
Well,
I think she's let go. I think we're good.
I think we've all let go. I wasn't even holding on, but yeah, we've all let go.
I think we've let go, and he just, by and large, was just a mess. He was a mess to me in this interview. Like I'm telling you, he's having some type of midlife crisis, and I think he has to commit to it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that he's slow burning us. I think he's trying to set this narrative up because the truth is that they are going to start filming in May, and that's not that far off, and we all know that the reunion's coming up, and something tells me that he doesn't like the way that the narrative went. Yeah. Which is why he did this interview to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to plant the seeds. I think he's slowly but surely trying to get into this place of getting himself ready. Correct.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, because when I did watch this interview, it just seemed like he didn't know what he was saying. He's like, well, okay, so like we went to the party. Okay, well, we were at the party and then we were in the backyard, but then wait, okay. So then we were and I'm like, what are you saying?
And you and I talked about it. I'm not buying that they only kissed and it was the backyard. Isn't that interesting that the stories are similar? I'm not buying this backyard bullshit, though.
No.
It's just, no. But what were you going to ask me? I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to ask, when you were watching that, did you think that, this seems kind of like consciously trying to sound like all over the place and really scattered? Or was he just ill prepared and like really is like scattered and like all over the place sincerely?
I think that it's a healthy level of both.
Okay.
I think that he's actually scattered, and I think that he's kind of losing it a little bit because his entire brand identity, which is Tom Sandoval. So there's Tom Sandoval the person, and then there's Tom Sandoval the brand, and that's just fact, right? Like that just exists. Yeah. That Tom Sandoval the brand is tanking, and that's his moneymaker because let's face it, Sandy and Schwartz, or Schwartz and Sandy's? Schwartz and Sandy's? How am I forgetting
Sandy,
this?
Sandy and Schwartz.
Yeah. Schwartz and Sandy's, I think.
Wait.
I think it's Schwartz and Sandy's. I don't know why.
I was like, it's definitely Sandy and Schwartz. No, it's Schwartz and Sandy's.
It's that moment when you're like spelling Wednesday and you're just like, it doesn't look right.
You're like, where's the D?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point being is that there's something tells me that restaurant is maybe breaking even. I don't think that there's a big profit. They're not making millions. I mean, owning a restaurant and bar is really expensive and your ROI is not very high.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that he's probably freaking the fuck out because although I can understand that he didn't want to be with Ariana anymore because there's a lot of things that exist here that I'm like, I get it. You didn't want to be in a relationship with her. I don't think that he thought it was going to be this way, but he is a narcissist in my personal opinion. But
I agree.
So he's not thinking about that. There is something to be said that no matter how much of a narcissist he actually is, Tom Sandoval, the brand, is still a thing that makes him money. And if that's tanking, what the fuck is he going to do?
Yeah.
So he's spinning out and he's going on this podcast. He's trying to get it set up. They're going to start filming soon. He has a contract coming up. And I do think that he's trying to drum up a certain level of interest for him himself. Because what if he doesn't get that contract? What if this doesn't happen? He has nothing to rely on.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the fucking gutter.
You can't rely on that band. So, I mean.
No. So there is a part of this that is self-serving. He is going to a podcast to self-promote, which I thought was really funny because he's annoyed that everybody else is doing it.
I know. That was the funny part.
But I do think that he is trying to save what little of his brand identity is left and salvage it because he doesn't know what the future holds. And I think he also just knows that he may not know what the future holds, but he knows that it doesn't hold a whole lot for 6 months from here on out because what the fuck is he going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I don't put anything really past him, so I don't even care. I don't care that he went on the podcast. I don't give a flying fuck. I just don't like that he had to prop himself up by
on the shoulders of mental health.
By tearing Ariana down. I mean, I thought that was really, really fucking gross.
He's gross though.
I know. And then I have to remind myself that
he would treat Kristen Doty like shit too. Here's the thing though.
I know.
Very much like Jax. Everything that Kristen did got lost in the way that she messaged it, right? Mm-hmm. We weren't actually seeing the forest for the trees. And if you go back and watch those old seasons, the same narcissist that we're talking about right now is the same person that was breaking up with Kristen Doty and gaslighting the fuck out of her. Like, yes.
Even worse now.
Kristen Doty was, quote, crazy, but that craziness has some culpability, and that culpability rests on Tom Sandoval's shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. So I made it through. Barely.
And how he sucks.
Just terrible. I don't even know that how he has a podcast. I really don't get it.
Stuff.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
It's called Stuff?
Stuff Podcast.
Wow. Okay. Comedy. There it is. I have no idea.
He was just so weird.
I told JJ, I was like, I really thought it'd be a safe assumption saying that I was going to hate Tom the most of this interview. And I was like, actually, Howie came in first place and Tom came in second. Because that's how annoyed I was with Howie. Just a good old boy. Because you're coming on, you're taking accountability. Every time I've met you at those parties, you were real nice. You were the nice guy. You were so great. Okay. Does that mean he can't be a narcissist and an asshole to his girlfriend? I can't.
I know.
Garbage. But, I guess I'm glad I saw it.
Garbage whore.
Yeah, exactly.
Trash.
Prostitution whore. Been to jail 19 times. Was it 19?
19 times. Yeah. Shall we?
Well, shall we get into Jersey?
I know. I mean, let's just segue.
We weren't even trying. Well.
Did you watch last week?
I did.
Okay.
I did. But in all transparency, I kind of watched it in the background. So.
Is it Turkish coffee reading?
Yes, I saw that. I did circle back to that.
Endorsements. Do you see it right there? If you look really closely in that tiny little cup that's only an inch by inch, you'll see it. It spells endorsements.
Right where it says knife in Marge's cup. I thought that was so funny. I mean, I didn't see it, but obviously she saw it. And I think once it got to Jen's cup, maybe she outed herself.
Yeah.
And you could see
endorsements.
You could see in Jen's eyes when she said endorsement, she's like, nope, that's not the word. That's not the word you were supposed to say.
Pay for play.
Remember what we said?
God damn it. Now I'm going to have to talk about this for the next 3 episodes about how I fucking told you everything and nothing.
And nothing at the same time. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think that she...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's all in good fun.
But here's the thing.
I mean, I think we knew when she said, oh, I see an L in Marge's cup and then I see a knife and she does like, I think we knew at that point that like, yeah, cat's out of the bag. But I'm still having fun with it. I was still rolling with it. It was still true.
I know. Look, it's like they entertained her up until
The
they said
endorsements.
the endorsement part. And they kind of allowed Jen to just kind of do, be willy-nilly, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to humor her. And then they get to endorsements and they're like, that's it. Marge was
can't.
like, you know what? I draw the line and it's here. And I can't allow it anymore. So I have to laugh. And by the way, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They all laughed.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were all laughing. They were all having a good time.
Yeah. They were like poking fun. And that was more fun than them being like really pissed off and like,
And I think that they were having a really good time because Teresa wasn't there.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
the beef we had that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that in that moment, but yes. So I was telling JJ that I was in my friend's wedding. That's why I was in Mexico. And when we were getting our hair and makeup done, I still had access to Instagram. And I was trying to, find, what was going on because there was a lot going on. And we were also texting. You're like, it's been wild. Watch What Happens Live has been wild. And so I was like, so I was kind of just going through our Instagram and I saw that our Reality Bites Instagram, I guess, was in a conversation with somebody saying that like, and I'm going to paraphrase because I only read it a couple times before I turned my phone off. And then something like, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but
Yeah, I did.
Melissa's the one that needs to stay. Teresa needs to go. And I know you said some other stuff as to like why. And then I texted JJ and I said, we'll be getting into a fight, she and I. And then I lost connection to my Instagram.
Well, first of all, I don't remember getting that text. I didn't see it.
Y'all, it
I
went
must have-
silent. She was texting me back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then in a joking way, I even put a crying emoji, like a laughing emoji, not like a sobbing one, to let her know I'm being lighthearted. But
I must have missed it,
I
obviously.
thought that I scared her off, and I thought, that should do it. That ought to do it.
Look, I didn't get the text. I don't remember getting it. I don't even remember reading it, but maybe I did get it. I was not ignoring you. Do you think after 16 years of friendship, this is going to be the nail in the coffin, is you and I arguing over Melissa and Teresa?
This is what I said. Oh, yeah. I forgot. I meant to pick a fight with you because I saw on your Insta, which is our Insta, but I said your Insta, your comment saying that Melissa needs to stay and Teresa needs to go. I was horrified. And then I did the laughing emoji.
And then I didn't say anything? I don't remember getting this. Well, let me open up. I mean, this is
I'm not
horrifying.
I'm not too worried. But yeah, so I guess we can just have our fight on air. It's not a intense fight. Because I
do see it.
Yeah. But see, I put the emoji there to
I know. I must have just
unarm
missed
you.
it. I
Yeah.
must have just missed it.
You're like, that's a lot of words. I'll read that later.
Well, we're also in a group thread with producer, and so there's just a lot of Betsy texts that come through, and I think I just probably just didn't think of it.
Yeah. Although this was just between us. But
I
yeah.
know, but I think do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I got you. Like I said,
why are you trying to drag me out?
I
of the
didn't.
pod?
I didn't lose sleep. I didn't even lose lunch over it. Like I wasn't that worried about it. But yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it.
I mean, what are your overall thoughts? Because last week when you were gone, and I know that you listened to it, I did a solo, not recap, but discussing my overall thoughts on Jersey.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say. I actually live, I think, in the in between. I do really always falter closer to Teresa. Like I will always be a Teresa fan over a Melissa fan just because individually I find her more entertaining. Okay. Yeah. It just is what it is. But when it comes to all their fights and everything that goes on, I think that they're both wrong. I think we've talked about this before, that they're all wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'm not one of these, Teresa stans that cannot see any fault in anything. I think there's a lot of problems with both sides.
Yeah.
I just don't want to live in a world where I have to turn on Jersey and Teresa's gone and Melissa is here. I just don't want that.
I know.
If they both go, I'm okay with that. But I actually want to take it a step further, and this is what I realized, because I know you said this past episode, since she wasn't in it that much, I thought it was an okay episode. It's not that I was missing Teresa. It's also not that I was like, oh wow, this would have been so much better if Teresa was here. It was kind of indifferent to me. I have not. Melissa has not bothered me last episode, and she really didn't bother me this episode. I think really more so in current seasons, I don't even know that it's so much Melissa that I have like for. It's Joe.
The ick.
I can't stand Joe.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think if I can separate them and like Joe never had to be in any type of events, I honestly think I could stomach Melissa a lot more. I really, really do. But I certainly don't want to watch Joe and Melissa next season. But here's what I'll say. I guess I'm at the point where it's like, I don't give a fuck because I don't want to hear this story ever, ever again. I want this storyline to die. So whether that means they both go, whether that means Melissa stays and Teresa goes, you know, whatever it needs to be, I don't want to tell this story anymore.
I'm done talking about this. I honestly, I don't have the space to talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
like, dead serious.
I don't think the audience has the ears to listen to it anymore. So if one, here's the thing, if one of them can stay on the show and live in a world where we don't have to, we can act like the other one doesn't exist, then that's fine. Otherwise, they both need to leave.
But that's the problem. Just like Katie and Tom Schwartz, they need to take a healthy break from each other. Like, they need to, I hate saying that. And I know that's a hard thing to accept with families, but I think that they need to take a solid year off. And I know that what the fear is in that. What if something happens and you don't do that with family, you stick together, but I think that we need to go, it's okay.
This isn't working though.
No one's going to die in the next year, because that's really what it is. Like, we live in fear constantly.
Yeah.
With putting up boundaries because we're afraid of what happens. You know?
Yeah.
Because Teresa went away and then her mother died and all these things. So I just want them to be in a place where they're comfortable enough to set a boundary and go, you know what? We just need to take a healthy break from each other. We need to not talk for about a year. It's kind of what we've been seeing in Vanderpump with Katie and Tom. They need to take a break. And we're getting inching closer and closer to them just kind of severing it and going, okay, we can't do this. We're friends who are divorced shit. Like, it just doesn't work. And I think that that's kind of similar with the way that I treat Teresa and Joe. Like, they just need to take a break from each other.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think a lot of it's Joe, and Melissa, I think, honestly gets a lot of the bad rap. So I need Joe to kind of go away too.
Yeah.
You know, like, if Melissa comes back, I just want to see Melissa. I'll see Joe, but I only really want to see him in the same way that we see the other wives' husbands. Just pop in and out. Joe is a housewife, and I'm ready for him to stop being an A-cast member.
Yeah.
I need him to just, like, pop in and pop out.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my big, like, you know, I was like, oh, especially the last 2 episodes, I was like, oh, Melissa isn't really bothering me. One, because Joe's not in the episode. Joe wasn't there. So I was like, oh, that was a nice break. I just need, I think you're right. I think they need to take a break from each other, and they need to take a break from the cameras, because then they can actually be themselves and take a breath and, like, live their lives. Not that they're not living their lives authentically, but, like, come on, like, get away from the camera so you can really exhale and take a break. And maybe they stay away, maybe they come back. I don't know, but we can't do this. We cannot do this next season. And I'm just not, so where I differ from you, I'm not interested in seeing Melissa next season. I'm not. Unless she can really show up in a real way without Joe, which won't be possible, and really no one talks about Teresa. Because otherwise I don't know. I'm just not interested. I'd rather them both go.
I do want to clarify. It's not that I'm necessarily interested in seeing Melissa. I'm not saying that she's intriguing enough for me to see her by herself. What I'm saying is, instead of getting rid of 2 cast members that have been a part of the show for 10 plus years, if one has to go and one needs to stay, so there's a familiarity with the audience still, I do think it needs to be Teresa and Melissa can stay. But I'm not saying that Melissa's necessarily more intriguing, or, like, I'm excited to see her be a solo cast member. No, I'm good. I'm just saying, though, that from a logistical, pragmatic rationale, if there's one that needs to go, it needs to be Teresa.
Okay. You know who I would like to see go?
Who?
Marge.
Yeah, Marge needs to step it up just a hair, or 2, or 5.
She needs to step it up, step it to the left, and leave the mic at the door. That's where she needs to go.
Like Lisa Barlow?
Yes. Yeah, take it. Oh, my queen. But Lisa, never leave, Lisa.
Well, how did you feel about Marge this episode?
Okay, so first of all,
we're in Ireland.
Ireland is on number one on my bucket list.
Yeah, I know. Guys, we're gonna go. I
finally got my passport renewed, so I am ready to rock and roll.
Do you want to go to Ireland?
Yes, that's the number one place I want to go.
Okay.
So even though this episode could be described as a little lackluster, it gave me life a little bit because it had the backdrop of Ireland. Okay.
Well, it's the first day of the trip, right?
Sure, to be expected.
These episodes are a little slower because it's anticipatory. We're setting up what we're going to anticipate seeing on the trip.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of ways is what we were talking about with Vanderpump, right? The episode before they go to
Yeah.
It's a little empty, But it's all anticipatory. It's all just a setup to seed what we're about to see on the trip, which, you know.
Well, these are actually my favorite episodes because these are the episodes that typically have like more of the comedy stuff. So like the ride there I thought was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Having them look through the rooms I thought was a lot of fun. It was nice to see them, unlike, you know, the New York women. It was nice to see them like go through the house, laugh, have fun, have some commentary, and just
Laugh, ha, fun.
have it be lighthearted. And I did actually appreciate Melissa's comment when she's like, "That's a haunted painting," or whatever she says. She's like, "This is what did she say? This is like,
this is haunted painting things."
Yeah, she's like this is like a art on the wall for a haunted house or something. I don't know. I thought it was very funny. The editors were making me laugh when they do the spooky stuff.
Slow clap for the editors. They're really taking it home this year.
They're having to do a lot of extra work.
They really are. They're having to do a lot
Jersey.
of extra work.
So
a lot of extra work.
So yeah, I actually kind of liked this episode in regards to that because I thought it was fun. And some of the wallpaper was a little bit of a yikes factor for me.
It's a castle, though.
I know, a little bit too much. But I did like that Marge got the twin beds. So that was appropriate. I thought that was funny. And yeah. But so Marge, here's what I like Marge. I think Marge is funny in the confessional for the most part. Mm-hmm. I think she's funny. I do. I think she's funny.
She is. She's funny.
So I let her get away with things because I think, because she can make me laugh.
She does. She has a good sense of humor.
And like when she's going through the room, she's like, "Oh, you bitch," or something. I think that's funny because again, all good fun. I just can't stand her in group scenes. And then when she, feels like she has to have the hierarchy, specifically with Jen and trying to make her feel embarrassed or bad about things. And she, just the gossiper, but she never wants to be
gossiped about.
Oh, yeah. She never wants to be coined the gossiper, but she is.
She is.
And
she does. She has this holier than thou, like, I'm the matriarch of this group.
Yeah.
Yeah. She does stand on a soapbox. That's the theme of this episode, I think. Soapboxes.
Oh, yeah.
She does stand on a soapbox of, kind of like a moral authority in a lot of ways, even though that she's not as judgmental in certain aspects of where people would think that there's a moral authority. She doesn't judge people if they've had an affair because she's had an affair. Yeah.
She'll out you, but she won't judge you.
Exactly. So there are aspects of her. It's a little manipulative because you think that it's unintentional, but you think that she's not very judgmental. She's not this, that, and the other, but she's actually probably like one of the most judgmental people on Jersey. And so there is this like moral authority, like I'm the mother of this group, like I'm the leader, I'm in charge, I'm Regina George of this fucking group. Yeah.
What she says goes.
Exactly. So there's, I feel like I got lost on my train of thought, but going back to Marge, that's by and large who she is.
Yeah.
And it's annoying.
And she talks down to people and I'm like, all right, enough.
Like, why does she have to do that? I don't like that she thinks that she's the smartest one of the group. And here's the thing. I'm a Marge fan. She's not doing it for me this season. And so, I have to give credit where credit is due. And it's not due in this sense. So,
no credit.
No credit. I'm sorry, Marge, you're not doing it for me this season because I think Marge needs to give us some personal story. We are lacking and we frankly haven't gotten in a really long time. What's her personal story? These little moments
What's ever
that we
been
get,
her personal story,
that's my point. But but that can only last for so long. We get little snippets of her personal story through other people's stories, the things that she's trying to out through other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get a little bit of her and her family and her kids, but only through the lens of Danielle and what Danielle's not doing by owning up to, whatever's going on between her and her brother. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. We're not getting like large stories. I want to see an A storyline with Marge.
I know. I mean, I do and I don't. But I absolutely understand your point. Yeah. And I think that's why she's the gossiper. She funnels all the gossip and what?
No, I'm laughing because I'll get to it. Go ahead.
Well, that's really all I had to say.
Well, what I was going to say, we start the episode with Melissa and Danielle at the Bougie Kids buyout sale or something like that. But really, the meat of the episode begins with everybody in their packing scenes. They're all packing to go to Ireland, and we're all kind of getting these anticipatory thoughts of what's going to happen, how it's going to be with everybody in the shared space. And we have Rachel, and we've got Jen, and we've got Marge, and we've got Dolores leading. And then we see Marge with Joe.
Yeah.
And she's like, I mean, I can't believe that Jen would do this, that she would just use people's lives. And she's referring to the Turkish coffee.
Oh my God.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, I know that it's with Joe, and I know that we're supposed to see her talk about how she feels with the last time that she's been with the group and what's going to be expected within this trip to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But that in and of itself is gossiping. And so it all kind of just goes back to, I'm sick and tired of her talking about everybody else.
And never about herself.
And never about herself.
Well, and talk about everybody else.
At least
fine,
Jen's trying to change the conversation. She's trying. I mean, albeit she lied and fed all this information to the Turkish.
But then she copped to it. She's like, well, I did call her. And Teresa's the one that outed her. She's like, I did call her. I told her that you and I had a fight. And then Marge is like, what did you tell her about the endorsements? I don't really remember if I said that or not. I mean, the thing about Jen is Jen to me is comedy. And the thing about Jen is Jen doesn't even give a fuck.
I know,
she
but Marge
can't
can't just let her live. Like, here's what I want Marge to do. I want Marge to just go, God, Jen's an idiot.
Yeah. Like, and then just let it go.
If you can't beat him, join him. Just laugh at her.
Yeah.
She gets so worked up. And I'm like, Marge, you're better than this. I think that's what's the most disappointing to me. I just wanted to look at Jen as like the village idiot. I don't necessarily think that Jen is, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just laugh it off. Well, look at Jen. If you think you're so superior, then why can't you look at her as being just nothing and fodder?
Exactly.
Why can't you just go,
beneath you.
Jen's fodder. She's beneath me.
Yeah.
But she can't. She can't think of Jen as just conversation. Like, oh my God, look at Jen over there in the corner. Look how stupid she's being. Just laugh. Instead, she's like, why? Why is Dolores friends with her? Dolores is not really friends with her. Why do you care?
Why do you care?
Stop. That's what bothers me. Just look at her as a court jester. Jen's there to just kind of
entertain.
She really is, though, in a lot of ways. Am I wrong?
No.
And I think that
she's
Jen, in a lot of ways, sees herself that way. I think she plays it up and acts stupid.
Yeah, she's in on it. I think Jen is in on it, and I'm here for it.
I think like 60% of the time she's in on it.
All right, 75.
Okay, fine.
Well, the same way, we were talking about this before we went on mic, the same way that Marge can't let go of the fact that Danielle said, conversate. Why do you still even remember that? Why do you still even remember that?
It's the only thing that she can hold on to make Danielle feel stupid and small.
That's very sad.
And I want Marge is better than this.
I don't know.
I think that she has been, come on, you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
I think that she's been better than this and she's sloppy. Everybody has a sloppy year. Lisa Rinna has a sloppy year.
She's having a Lisa Rinna year.
I think Marge is kind of having a little bit, well, it's not as significant as Lisa
it's
Rinna,
not.
but it is a little sloppier. And I think Marge is we're getting a little slow, Marge. We're getting a little sloppy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be better. She's better than this. She's smarter than this.
Well, what about the rumor? What about the rumor, guys, that Laura told Jen and Teresa, and then Jen said, well, I haven't even said the worst part. Remember at that lunch? I haven't even said the worst part, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you everything you want to know. I'm not going to tell you. And then Jen just sits there the rest of the lunch, like lit up like a kid on Christmas. She is so excited and thrilled that she has this secret to expose about Marge. What do you think about that? Before we get to the secret, before we actually get to this secret,
Marge is the one that's been telling everyone. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What do you think about this moment with Jen just like holding on to this, as Danielle says, a bomb?
I laugh because like Jen has been waiting for this moment.
Oh, she is pumped. She is so excited.
I think that it's true. And I think that you and I talked about this a long time ago when it was actually happening.
Yeah.
And I think if I can remember correctly, I was told that it was true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that it is true. And I think that Marge is telling other people. I don't think that Marge is telling other people, though, so that they talk about it on camera. I think that that's what Jen Aiden is kind of implying here, right?
No, I don't agree.
You don't.
But
you don't think that Jen Aiden is implying that? Or you don't think that...
No, I don't think that...
Marge doesn't want to have this out on the
Correct.
show.
That's the kind of person I think Marge is, though. That's where that's where you and I may differ a little bit.
No, well, I think that's fair. I think that she's definitely strategic. She's definitely a Lisa Vanderpump type of strategist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember months and months ago, because I think you had some friends that worked on this show that you said that, and we've kind of seen it in the trailer that I think it's the finale when this is also going to kind of come to head and it, gets brought up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I love Jen. But I have to say, if I didn't love Jin, this scene would have annoyed the shit out of me, because what I hate more than anything is someone being like, oh my God, I haven't even told you the worst part, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you the worst part. You know what I mean?
Who's it about?
I really have something to tell you, but I can't. But then don't say anything. But because it's Jin and Jin is doing so hard, she's trying so hard to play the game. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it to Jin.
It's about somebody who's here.
Yeah, I'm Danielle. What is it? I can't say.
But her name, it starts with an M and rhymes with Carissa.
And she has a sister-in-law here.
I said too much. No.
Did you guys hear this? It's Melissa, okay? Yeah. I love that Jin, she tried to do all of her bases. She's like, I don't want to say this because something similar happened to me last season, so I don't want to be that person. Okay, I've said it. It's Melissa. Melissa made out with someone, and Marge is telling everybody.
I'll give you one guess. Okay, Melissa. Fine. You twist my arm. Melissa. It's Melissa.
Literally. Danielle was just sitting there like, okay. And she's like, all right, I'll tell you. Enough. I'll tell you already.
Danielle had the opportunity to blink twice before fucking Jen went ahead and spilled the beans. What a blabbermouth. And by the way, she doesn't even need to actually spill the beans, because her behavior at that table at breakfast, which is like, okay.
Oh
as she caresses the napkin, she's like, okay, guys, what?
You're not really going to ask me? Nobody wants to know?
It's going to be really interesting today. No, you don't want to know why it's going to be interesting? Well, it's going to be interesting today.
Let me tell you why. Make out. I won't say anything else. That's all I'm saying. It's like, she just wanted somebody to just keep asking.
And no one cared.
And here comes little Danielle being like, tell me what's going on. Well, I can't. Okay, I'll tell you. And it's like, okay. She finally got to get it out.
Yeah.
I love it. So, yeah, here's the thing is that, like, who really cares? Who cares? And when I saw Melissa on Watch What Happens Live, she said that apparently this was a rumor about something that happened 5 years ago, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it would have been. It would have been a while ago.
I thought that was interesting. So, I mean, I guess it really has, if that's the case, it really has been held down for a long time.
Yeah.
But what I do know almost for a fact, I can't say it for a fact because I don't, but I would say 98% is that Marge is the one that's saying this.
Yeah.
And I'll die on that hill. I really will.
You don't have to. Here's the thing. I don't disagree.
Well, for the Marge fans out there, I will.
Yeah, I won't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, sometimes the proof is in the pudding. And I'm not saying that, like, in life, you don't lose friends or things don't happen. To me, I think it's sometimes natural for people to just kind of grow apart. Mm-hmm. In my life, I can't really tell you a time when I lost a friend because of, like, some type of betrayal or something. Like, it just hasn't happened.
I don't lose friends like this either. So that's why it's weird to me.
To have 3 people say this,
I think that's a great point.
It's just, and for her to have the defensiveness that she has about it, it speaks a lot to me. And for her own friends, looking at you, Jackie, saying, I would rather, when Andy said, is it true? Would you rather have Marge as a friend than an enemy? And for her to say yes, that's all I need to know. So I believe that she would say this. I'm assuming it sounds like it's true.
Yeah.
And do I believe that she wanted it to come up on camera? I think her thing is fair game. I'm not going to make any moves to have it come up on camera, but if it comes up on camera, I'm going to clean my hands. I've got a great relationship with Melissa. Who's she going to believe, me or Jen? I'm going to take my chances that she's going to believe me, but.
I know. I don't disagree. I think Marge is very strategic.
But she's getting sloppy, to your point.
I think she's getting a little sloppy.
And Jen is so excited to put this news out there. And it probably won't even be that exciting because it'll probably get squashed pretty easily. Well, I will say, did you watch Watch What Happens Live with
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so Joe is there. Surprise. Joe's there.
Can she go without him, please?
No, she can't.
I want her to go without him. I am sick of seeing him. He always needs to be a part of everything.
He probably wanted her to be in the audience and him be in the chair.
100%.
And she didn't even get to sit next to Andy. It was Cecily.
I was just about to say, that's how I know that she's not favored.
Fucking love Cecily. Yeah.
That's how I know.
But so he asked that question and she said what she said. Oh, it's a rumor. I'm not going to give it light. Whatever. By the way, this is a rumor that happened 5 years ago. And of course, Andy asked Joe, he's like, Joe, what's your response when you heard this? And Joe, by the way, looks, wasted as he always does. His eyes are like bloodshot. He can't even say,
always looks like
he can't
just
even
took,
say
steroids.
words. He's just like this. He's like, what's your response? He's like this. Like his laugh, like that was his laugh. And then, but then I want you to watch it because then it gets weird. It's like they cut the camera stays on him a little bit too long, and it's like he kind of stops, and it's like he doesn't know if he should say something, so he's kind of like trying to like form words, but then like the camera moves away and Andy keeps talking. So there was like a weird like 2 to 3 seconds where it's like he seemed, out of sorts. Whatever.
He's so fucking weird. I don't need him to be there every time she goes to watch what happens live.
Well,
I'm good.
I mean, we should know by now.
I'm good.
That's what I'm saying. I need him to be off the show more than I need Melissa to be off the show. And that is the truth. That's the truth. And I'm sticking with it. Other than that, what was your favorite moment about this episode? Because again, it was just kind of like a pleasantry episode.
That we didn't see Jackie.
Oh,
I mean, she's there. We hardly saw her.
Was just beautiful. She was there. Either she didn't speak much or they, edited out her parts, which was very appreciated.
I feel like that was something to celebrate.
I thought so too. What did you feel at the ending scene with the dinner when everyone got upset about Jen Aiden saying that it was an obligation to invite Melissa Gorga to the wedding?
God, I'm kind of afraid to give my opinion.
Say it.
I think that she is an obligation.
Yeah.
But I also would have used I would have chosen my words a little bit more wisely. I wouldn't have said it in that way.
It's Jen Aiden.
Yeah, I don't care. There's only so much latitude I can give to Jen Aiden to being dumb.
What would you have said instead?
You're gonna put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Like this? Okay. I would have said, look, there may be a lot of things going on between Melissa and Teresa, but Melissa is Joe's wife, and it's only right that she be invited to the wedding.
All right. Okay.
So an obligation.
You got there. You got there. I was like, so obligation. Correct. So what JJ just did in 10 words, Jen did in 1.
I know, but you're putting me on the spot. I need a thesaurus, okay?
No, I understand. No, I get it. That's why people got kind of offended because they were like it's obligation. Because it seems kind of cold.
It
seems
is.
Cold,
here's the thing.
But it is what it is.
It's what it is, though. It is an obligation. I just don't know if I would have said it that way.
Right.
And I don't know if Jen Aiden meant it
correct
in the way that they want to choose to perceive it. Because if they think that Jen Aiden's stupid, then you know that she wouldn't have meant it that way. Like guys, you cannot treat Jen Aiden like she's the smartest and dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
And that's what I think bothers me. It's like, if you know that she's not all that like with it or sharp enough to understand or astute enough to understand that saying something in the way that she said it is actually going to be kind of problematic, then she can't also be that strategic enough to say something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. It can't be both.
It cannot
be both.
So I would pick up what she's putting down, which is that Jen didn't mean it that way. I don't think that Jen meant it like, oh, you're an obligation. No, I think she meant it like, because it's the truth.
Yeah, it is the truth. And also, guys, we have to start getting to the point that they don't care. I don't think Melissa cares about being an obligation. I don't think Melissa cares that she's not in the wedding. I don't think Melissa cares about any of this. And Teresa, sure enough, does not care.
Joe is as much of an obligation as Melissa is.
At this point, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Joe's an obligation.
Yeah. And like, I understand that part when I guess it was in last week's episode when, it's announced that Dolores and Jen are going to be in the wedding and they kind of set it up, to have this moment by Melissa to see, oh, what's her reaction going to be? And you can tell that maybe she seems like a little like disheartened, but nobody should be surprised that Melissa has not been asked to be in the wedding. Like,
I don't think Melissa's surprised that she hasn't been asked to be in the wedding, right? I don't think it bothers Melissa as much as I think it bothers other people.
I would agree with that. I do.
I mean, I think that she was disappointed in the beginning.
Maybe at first, yeah.
Yeah, but like I think at this point, I think that people are setting it up for Melissa to be bothered, but I don't think Melissa's as bothered as everyone else wants her to be.
Yeah, especially not right now.
No, I mean, there have been several times where I feel like people have tried to prod that conversation and kind of stoke it. And Melissa's just like, cool. Like last week when they were all at Polly's for the Turkish tea reading. Melissa's really, like, here's the thing. Melissa's disappointed and bummed, but Melissa did not allow that conversation to fester. Like, she did not allow the conversation she didn't give it life. She was just like, okay, it is what it is. Like, why am I surprised? Melissa's not surprised anymore, guys. She's not shocked. She's like, yeah, cool. It is what it is. The problem with everyone and Melissa is that if Melissa says, hey, it is what it is, I think that Teresa's doing this on purpose, then Melissa's not a good sport. Then Melissa says nothing and everyone's like, she's bothered. Like, guys, no, y'all can't have it both ways. I think that she oftentimes is silenced. Were you silent or silenced? Yeah. And I think it's both. And I think that she can't go in any direction, or she's put the kibosh on, right? It's no, I'm serious. Whether you like her or not, or whether you think that she's supposed to be on the show is of no consequence to me in this opinion, because I think that like everyone shits on her all the time in a way that I just don't think is necessary. And this is not me being a Melissa fan. This is just me just stating it as like how I see it as a producer. People shit on her for the dumbest stuff. And it makes me so annoyed because I don't think that she deserves that. Do it to Joe Gorga.
Yeah.
Leave Melissa out of it. That's what I mean. Like, do it to Joe.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Do it to Joe. Do it to Joe.
Do it to Joe. Yeah.
Hashtag. Let's start it. Start a new hashtag.
Do it to Joe. He'd be like, yeah, do it to me. Do it to me. He'll make it all sexual.
WWJD. What would Joe do?
Ugh.
Toss it.
Toss it.
Put it in the gutter.
Toss it in the trash can.
I'm serious though. Like, put that energy towards Joe, not Melissa.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always come from the mind frame of, like, again, I've already said this, like, both of them are wrong. Teresa is wrong in certain circumstances, and Melissa is wrong in certain circumstances. Why? Because they say the same things.
Yeah.
They fight about the same things, and their defense mechanisms are the same. So, of course, they're both wrong. But individually, Teresa's just more entertaining for me. So that's why I always take her over Melissa. But these past 2 episodes, Melissa hasn't bothered me because she's not getting up in arms. She's just kind of like, whatever.
She's being very passive about it.
Whatever.
Because
I need other people to stop doing it.
That's my point. I need everyone to let it go. If Melissa's not talking about it, I don't need everybody else to talk about it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm excited for next episode though, because we actually get enveloped in Ireland. So I'm excited. Yeah.
And it looks like there's going to be some conflict. It looks like Danielle, my woman, is going to be standing up again for herself.
Oh God. Guys, move along. I'm done with this. Leave her
on.
alone about this. I'm serious. Leave her alone. Enough. Enough.
But she can handle it.
She can.
And I think looking at the trailer or I guess really the trailer for the rest of the season, it looks like she's going to be the one that maybe brings the rumor to light about Melissa, which, and I love it because in that moment in this episode, she's like, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. And I wanted it to cut to that moment we see in the trailer where she's like, I heard that you made out with a guy in the back of a car. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, girl. I love her.
Question for you before we go, because I want your opinion on this. Like, what do you make of the Rachel Danielle feud, given the Arsenal and this and that? What's your opinion? I know we've talked about it already, but going into this trip, there's obviously still some contention. And I want to know your opinion on where everyone stands. And do you think that this should still be a thing? Do you think that Danielle's right? Because Rachel, basically, we see her getting ready for Ireland, and then we see her arrive at the airport, and she's basically like, yeah, I mean, Danielle's here, and, I just, like, I don't understand why this is such a big fucking deal. Like, this is so minuscule, right? What do you make of that? Do you think?
I agree that I think this shouldn't be anything. I think it should have ended. But because I am a Danielle fan, I tend, here's the thing, is I see both sides. I can understand why Danielle is upset because she feels like, I thought we were just having a casual conversation. We're kind of the 2 newbies. Like, I thought maybe we could just talk to each other, kind of open about this. And I'm telling you what I heard. And maybe she shouldn't have, but she maybe thought it was a safe space. I also don't think it's a big deal that Jen went and told Marge, because you're on a reality show. That seems pretty secondhand nature. But I think it's more about the impact of how Marge took it. And I think if it was anybody else, maybe Danielle wouldn't have been that upset, but because she knows who Marge is, and now here we have Jen running to Marge being like, oh, well, this is what Danielle's saying about you. You have an arsenal of secrets and all this stuff. Now she knows that, okay, I'm going to have Marge on my back the rest of the season. So I would be fucking pissed as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, now I have to fight Marge the rest of the fucking season.
It lives in authenticity, but there's strategy, right? So she's like, fuck.
Yeah. A dog with the bone. She's not going to let it go for the whole season. And now I'm going to have to deal with this. Yeah. And why? This wasn't even that big of a deal. And now it has to be a big deal because Marge can't let things go. And now this is my new fight for the whole season.
I didn't even think about it like that because she's well versed in the show. And it's coming maybe more from a place of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because we know how Marge is. Marge is a dog with a bone. So I didn't look at it like that. Wow. Okay.
That has more to do why she is upset with Jen. Right?
Okay. By the way,
Jen,
I never
Rachel.
I didn't think about it like that at all. Wow. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's just my perspective.
But I see that, and I didn't think about it like that before. Like, obviously, we thought about it like that, but I didn't think about it like that from like a story perspective. Like it, like breaking the fourth wall for a second, right? Like I didn't think about it from like oh fuck.
Here we go.
I'm well versed in the show. I know how Marge does, and I don't think it's a big deal. And no, in real life, I wouldn't really get upset with Rachel for saying this because it wouldn't be a big deal. But I know Marge because I've done my homework, and I know that this is going to be something that she's going to latch onto, and she's going to fucking grip with all of her might.
Yep.
And now it's going to be Marge versus Danielle the entire season.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my money's on Danielle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Danielle's a slow burn. I don't think that she's going to show all of her cards because I've been seeing people say things like, meh. Danielle's all bark, no bite. I'm like,
I don't believe that.
Not so fast. I think that it feels that way, but I think that she's a slow burn. It takes her because she's not dumb.
She's not going to cry over spilled milk.
Correct. She holds her in her pocket.
Yeah.
She perhaps has an arsenal. She knows. Yeah. She knows when to let it loose, pull the trigger.
Yeah. So, but I think, I wish that the storyline wasn't continuing because I would like to see Rachel and Danielle go along.
That makes me sad because I do think that they would get along, but I think it's more that. And maybe Danielle doesn't want to say it that way or doesn't know how to articulate it like that, but.
Yeah. And there could be an aspect that it is as simple as it seems. Like, I thought I could trust you and you went exactly to the person that I was talking to you about and told her that I said X, Y, and Z. And so, and just like Danielle said tonight, I got you. I got your number. I got it. We'll make that mistake again. I got it. Yeah. I got you. And I was like, ooh.
All right. Well, looking forward to next week.
Looking forward to staying in Ireland. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to have you back.
I'm so happy to be back.
Codependent over here.
Yep.
Codependent
with Mike. With the Mike. not Mike the man.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on our Jersey recap with a little Vanderpump sprinkled in. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you want, and you're up for it, buy us a cocktail.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a new option.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom of this episode, you'll see a link to buy us a coffee, but for us, it's buy us a cocktail. Think about it like a donation. So if you want to buy us a cocktail, you can donate $5.
Oh my God. Wow. I did not know that. Wow, that's very exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
Has anybody donated a cocktail?
No one's donated a cocktail, but
guys, no pressure.
No pressure. But if you'd like,
we're here.
Yeah. Guys, donate. I can't. I'm done. All right. I can't. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And as always,
please like. We already said this.
Oh, we did? Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back with some Vanderpump and Summer House episodes this week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.